Hi friends, welcome to this 20-minute stretch, relax, and renew session. Please have 2 yoga blankets, maybe throw blankets from off your couch, and 2 yoga blocks. If you don't have yoga blocks, a nice stack of books is a great option. Come to a comfortable seat. Sit nice and tall through the spine. Close your eyes or turn your gaze low. Settle into your breath. Settle into the breath, not by changing, altering the breath, but by paying attention. And in that way of paying attention, our body, our mind start to work together. Throughout this practice, keep drawing back to your breath for inspiration, for calm, for centering. Nod your chin down to the chest and roll your right ear over towards your right shoulder. Just nice and slow. Be gentle, be easy. And then let the head go back over towards the left. And chin back down to the chest. Now, through this 20-minute practice, as I hope you do as you walk through each day and each yoga practice on your yoga mat, be really mindful of what's working for you. So we're continuing the head roll here. Go in the opposite direction as well. 2 full head rolls in each direction. Okay, once you've finished those head rolls, just pick the head back up. Stretch the arms up to the sky as you do that. Open your eyes, look up. Inhale, exhale, and twist to one side. Start to move with your breath here. Inhale, lift, and exhale, twist. Inhale, lift. Back to the first side. Inhale, lift. And exhale, twist. Lift both arms up, and then come right on down through your center. Okay, come on over to all fours. Just to make this most comfortable today, I'm going to place one of my yoga blankets under the knees. If you're already on a cushy surface, maybe this isn't necessary, but this way I just never need to think about am I uncomfortable in the joints there of the knees. All fours, good old cat and cow. Just move the spine back and forth for several cycles of breath. We want the name of the game to be slow and easeful today. So if any of this stretch, any of the positions really cause some suffering, some pain, you know to back out of that. I hope that's always true for us in the practice, but there's certainly times in practice where we push more towards the challenge, the strength atmosphere. And that's not this one. This is slow and easeful. Okay. And then swing your left foot forward. Grab both of those yoga blocks. I'm going to use the 2 lowest heights, just kind of stacked right on top of each other. But you'll want to bring enough height up so that when you come to a forearm lunge position, you have a nice bit of stretch and opening in the hips, but it's not, super intense. If we're talking a 0 to 10 scale with 0 feeling no stretch, 10 being really past or at our limit, I'm looking for like a 3 or a 4. So where can you find that? Is it like a little more height? Is it a little less height? It'll depend on how you're showing up today for yourself and in the body. But find that position, and then we're just going to stay with it. Look a little forward past the hands. Keep that mindfulness coming back to the breath. Allowing the breath to be pretty even through the flow of the inhale and the exhale. In the Yin Yoga tradition, I believe this is called dragon pose, and it would be held for a good 7 minutes or more. No worries, we're not doing that here. But that is one reason we look towards that lower intensity scale, because simply the time in the posture starts to rise the intensity a little bit, and we still want it to be manageable. We're thinking good, full, open stretch here. Close the eyes anytime it feels right through this practice. No need to feel stuck in the posture if you need a little bit of movement and then to eke back in. This is all for you, so make sure it feels good. Okay, and then we'll slowly make our way out so that we can move to the second side. Come around through all fours, just slide your props over, right foot forward. And again, hands go down to the inside. If you happen to be doing this practice and you don't have any props available, you can have the hands just on the ground to the inside of the foot. Go down, bend the elbows, maybe to the forearms, but remembering that you're trying to keep it on that lower side of intensity. Allow yourself to be just a bit more passive here. You're holding some muscular control and energy so that we see the shape of the posture, but also a lot of allowance of softness, of breath. I like a really dynamic and strong yoga practice on the mat. And I also think that the softening, the release, the slow stretch, super important to build in. Maybe once or twice a week you find this 20 minutes. I like to think of it soothing like a warm bath would be, and that's the place of intensity we want to find. Okay, so come out of the second side, back around to all fours, just slide the props out of the way, and maybe just kind of shift around in the hips. Little circles, or go back to the cat and cow. Good. And then we're going to lie flat down on the belly. So I'm going to move everything out of the way so that we can just be absolutely flat down. Here, set up on the forearms, elbows right underneath the line of the shoulders, and have the legs as wide as the yoga mat. I like to let out these couple of sighs as a reminder to let it be. So if we're doing Sphinx pose, this is how I would do Sphinx pose in an active class. Legs together, big press through, really lift through the heart and take it forward. And you can start there, but then, okay, what can I let go of? Legs wider, less activation in the glutes, a little bit more of a sink forward and down, maybe close the eyes, relax the head a little bit. And we're here. This is the pose for now. This is me. And now begins. From there, press back to child's pose. Do child's pose where you can comfortably rest the head on the ground. Place a block or a blanket under the head to allow a little more ease and space. All right, there's no rush, but from this supported child's pose, a seated straddle, I've just opened up the blanket that I was using, and now I'm gonna sit my hips up on to the blanket so that I have just a little bit of lift. Yoga blocks handy as well in front. Start the straddle with your feet just like outer hip distance apart. Soften the muscles of the legs a little bit. And maybe that's just right. And we can use the blocks to come a little bit forward. Now, I'm still at 0 on my intensity scale. And remembering, I was looking for something 3, 4, maybe even 5 on this one. So we're gonna take the legs a little bit wider. And everybody just finding their own space. And the purpose of the blanket is so that we'll sit on the very front edge. If you think of your pelvis like a bowl, we want the bowl dipped down and forward just a little bit. So if something was gonna spill out, it would spill forward. Does that make sense? If you tend to live in a more open, easeful body and hips, low back through the legs, maybe no blanket at all is best. Okay, enough presence of strength in the legs and muscular activation to flex the feet and turn the toes and knees up to the sky. And then kind of keeping that, try to relax out, okay? The blocks here to the front are simply so that as we come more towards a forward fold, we've got some height. Again, gauging towards that midpoint on the 0 to 10 scale. Fold down to the center. Do you need more height, less height? I'm always holding really tight in the sense of let it go, let it be, is a practice that I work with a lot. And so right now I'm breathing and trying to say, relax, relax thighs, relax. A nice stretch through the inner thigh without overdoing it. Couple more breaths here. And then walk it over just to one leg. Bring the blocks with you. Maybe you're a little closer in here. All of the things. In the evenings, I sometimes make this straddle position my entire stretch routine. I'll spend almost 20 minutes just walking, like 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, and then back to the center. It's usually while I'm watching a show or listening to a podcast or even reading, so that my mind is able to focus on something other than the body sensations, and I just make sure I'm staying at that lower range as I check in and move from side to side. Okay, let's go on over to the second side. So if that speaks to you, take this one position as a whole practice one night. Doesn't have to be night, that's just sort of my cooling preference. I'm here with you, just holding the quiet space a bit. All right, go back to the center. And then from this straddle position, we'll move into our final pose for this short practice together of stretch, of rest and renew. It's time for the rest. So you come up, help the legs back in. Okay, so two options. You can lie down in Shavasana as you might typically at the end of class. If that's something that really suits you, go right for it. Since you have the props nearby, maybe lay a blanket to be a pillow for the head, another rolled blanket under the knees so it's a supported Shavasana. I'm going to take us to legs up the wall as the second option though. My Bodhi has taken up this blanket. Sorry, buddy, I'm going to need it back. So for legs up the wall, I'm going to use both of the yoga blankets. So my blankets are in this fold, and I'm going to just fold it over one time so I have a little bit of height. Not everybody will want or need the height, but I like to have the hips up a little bit higher. If you do have any tightness in the low back, tightness in the hamstrings, sitting up on a little bit of height and it just slightly off the wall that you're going to use, I think is quite helpful in legs up the wall. So I have just a little bit of space here between my baseboard and the placement of the props. You get your hips really close to the wall and then lie down, and it's you know, it just takes some maneuvering. Slide your seat up onto those blankets. If the hamstrings allow, you can be right up against the wall. If you need a little space, keep yourself a little bit of space. So it's just maneuver around. My painting will be okay. I'm gonna take my legs all the way up, release the arms down by your side. So this is a passive inversion. Feet above the heart. Legs up the wall. Legs can be thrown up on a couch or up on a bed. All right, keep settling in. I want you to stay there. Close the eyes if not already. Come to your breath. The hardest part of rest for me is a busy mind. So I'll offer these few words of present moment to settle the mind towards the breath. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in the present moment, I know this is a wonderful moment. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in the present moment, I know this is a wonderful moment. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in the present moment, I know this is a wonderful moment. Calming, smiling, present moment, wonderful moment. Calming, smiling, present moment, wonderful moment. Friends, I invite you to stay here as long as you wish. Thank you for taking the time for stretch, for rest, for renew.